Good morning, dear students, and a hearty welcome to class 12. Today I'm going to teach you the first poem from your literature book Flamingo. The title of the poem is My Mother at 66. This beautiful poem is written by the famous Indian poet Kamla Das, who used to write in English and Malayalam. Kamla Das is a very renowned Indian poet whose works are known for their originality and the indigenous flavor of the soil. Kamla Das was one such poet who deals with complex and delicate issues like human relationships in a very beautiful lyrical medium. The poem which you are going to read now, My Mother at 66, as the title itself suggests, it talks about the relationship between a mother and a daughter. Dear students, you will all agree with me when I say that mother is the greatest gift to humanity. And we have so many beautiful quotations about this that since God could not be everywhere, he created mother. In this poem, the poet is poignantly going to bring out her relationship with her mother. Let us read through the poem and then I'll paraphrase it for you. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, doze, open-mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her worn, pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." And all I did was smile and smile and smile. Now, my dear students, while I was reading the poem for you, did you notice or observe anything special about this poem? Since you cannot give me the answer, I will tell you that the whole poem is written in free verse. There is no rhyme scheme in this poem. The poem is written in free verse, V-E-R-S-E. Another noteworthy feature of the poem is that the whole poem is written in one single sentence interspersed by commas, which suggests the flow of thoughts in the mind of the poet. Okay? Now I'm going to explain the poem for you and then we'll discuss about the theme and the questions. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, doze, open-mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse. Now, the poet has come to visit her parents or maybe spend some days with her parents, and after spending her vacation, she is returning. She has to take a flight from the Cochin airport, so she is traveling in a car to the Cochin airport. It is a Friday morning. Her mother is sitting beside her in the car. Maybe the mother is going to bid goodbye to her and going till the airport. She is going to see her off. And while traveling in the car and going towards the Cochin airport, suddenly the poet looked at her mother's face. And what did she see? The mother was sitting beside her and she was dozing. Dozing meaning she was taking a nap. She was sleeping. And while sleeping, her mouth was slightly open. You might have noticed that old people, while sleeping, since they have breathing problems, their mouth is slightly open. So the poet noticed that her mother was sleeping, her mouth was open, and she was looking very pale and dull. And the poet says she was looking ashen like that of a corpse. She was looking pale and fragile and dull and grey like a corpse, like a dead body. Can you tell me what is the figure of speech used here? The poet is comparing the pale and dull face of the mother to a corpse. It is a simile, right? And the poet gets disturbed by this thought. She suddenly realized that her mother is aging. She is growing old and slowly she is inching towards her death. And this thought shudders the poet. She is completely disturbed and upset. But she wanted to distract this thought from her mind. She wanted to divert this thought from her mind. So she realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. She realized with pain that the mother is now growing old and the day is not far that she might be separated from her mother forever. But put that thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. The poet did not want to go with such sad mood, so she decided to shirk those thoughts away from her mind and she looked out of the window of the moving car. And what did she see outside? Outside, she saw young trees sprinting. Young trees, they were moving past. You are students, you have studied science, so you will say that it is due to the motion. But what is the symbolic meaning? Outside, the trees are full of life and energy and they seem to be running past. And the merry children spilling out of their homes. See, the image of spilling itself suggests that the children are bursting with energy. Yes, the scene inside the car and outside world, it is in complete contrast to each other. Another pattern in the poem that you will notice is the poet sorry, the poet has used the technique of compare and contrast in the poem. First she compares her mother to a corpse and then she notices the natural world outside where the young trees seem to be running and the young children are playing and coming out of their house. So the mother inside the car, she is symbolic of what? She is symbolic of decay, passivity, and death, whereas the trees and the children are full of energy and happiness and life. Okay, so they are in complete contrast to the mother. Another thing, if you notice, that mother is towards the end of her life and the children, they have just begun their lives, so they are in complete contrast to each other. Then but after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her worn, pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. Meanwhile, the poet has reached the airport. Now, airport, she has to undergo certain formalities. She went for the security check. After the security check, she is standing at some distance from her mother. So, from there, she again looks at her mother, who is standing a little far from her. And what did she notice? She noticed that the mother was looking very pale and dull, and her face was worn meaning colorless and faded. And she compares the mother's face to the late winter's moon. Now, again, simile is used. Why she is comparing the mother's face to the late winter's moon? You might have noticed that during the winter season, due to the fog and mist in the environment, the moon looks very dull and faded and it lacks that shine and luster. Similarly, the mother who is now in the winter of her life, she is old. She has lost that radiance, that shine of the youth on her face. So, very aptly, the poet compares her mother's face to the late winter's moon and felt that old familiar ache. What is that familiar ache of the poet? My childhood's fear. Children, they are very much attached to their mother, and in childhood, they always have this insecurity of being separated from the mother or losing their mother. Now, at this age, after seeing the mother's condition, after realizing that mother is growing old, she is 66 years old and she is moving slowly towards her end, that childhood fear of the poet revives again. That is the familiar ache she is talking about. But the poet does not want to show her emotions, her feelings to her mother. So, what did she say to her mother before departing? She wanted to give hope and assurance to the mother, which she might not be feeling inside her heart. Inside, she has this fear that she might not see her mother again. But she gives the hope to the mother and she spoke the parting words, "See you soon, Amma." Okay, and all I did was smile and smile and smile, and she gave a smile to her mother. But at this time when she is full of fear and anxiety to lose her mother, the word smile, it is not a natural smile. The repetition of the word, what is the literary device used here? Repetition. And why is it used? To show that it is not a natural smile, it is a forced smile. So the poet said, I smile and smile and smile to hide her emotions from her mother, to mask that fear and anxiety from her mother. She smiled and bade goodbye to her mother. I hope the poem is clear to you, students.